Okay, let me talk about organizational culture and communication. Like we discussed yesterday in the class, that every organization has a culture, and in every culture, the main ingredient of culture is communication, right? Because we spend good deal of time in organization in our workplace, so that is, the culture is automatically developed, and then people tagged it as a organizational culture and communication. There are some popular models which we are going to talk in this class. One model is about Hall's compass model. Wendy Hall suggests three main ingredients to a company culture, which she calls ABC. Okay, so that is what she says. So let's see what A is. A is the artifact. Okay, for example, any event of culture that you get to see, any dresses, any style, right? Every, for example, US organization has its own culture. UK's organization, they have their own culture. Even in Nepal, US embassy, they have their own culture. UK embassy, they have their own culture. Indian embassy, they have their own culture. So whatever you see, that's tagged as artifact. Okay, that is the visible concrete elements of the culture. Culture is not, most of the time people most of the time people connect that culture with religion. So it is not the thing. Culture is how organizational, how people working for organization, what they do, how they spend their time, work-life balance, their dress code, their, the way they talk, their slogan, their sign, their logo, everything is culture. Okay. So examples of artifact would be the language and the manners, the types of greetings, the clothing, and so on. So that is artifact. So B refers to behaviors, the way in which groups and individuals do what they do. This is how we do things around here. This would include how decisions are made. So, if people, whenever you go to any organizations for the first time, and they introduce you to the behavior of the organization, and they say, this is how we do it. This is what we believe in, right? This is our motto. This is our thing. So those are all behaviors of the artifacts. This would include how decisions are made, how problems are solved, how conflict is handled and negotiated, and the way in which people communicate. So, out of A, B, C that Wendy Hall said, the C is the core of morals, beliefs, and values. They have a deep belief in their behavior, that behavior that is manifested from the artifact. So, behavior is in a way a subset of artifact. So C refers to the core of morals, beliefs, and values. This is what Hall calls the deepest level of culture, and it determines what individuals and groups believe is good, fair, right, or otherwise. Okay, so Hall conducted that there were four distinct company cultural style. So, like, she just gave a name. Okay, some is these are the relationship between assertiveness and responsiveness. How assertive something is, and how responsive something is. How attentive something is. How patience some organization have, right? How risk they take. So this is a graph of assertiveness and responsiveness. That is what Hall came up with. So she has four cultural styles. One is North style. North style is low assertiveness and low responsiveness. So North is a too low, right? Assertiveness and low responsiveness. Now South style is high assertiveness and high responsiveness. So if you have to memorize this, it's not a big deal. North is low, South is high, right? East is first low and West is first high. So that being said, assertiveness and responsiveness, if you put these two consecutively, respectively, then North is low, South is all high, East is first low, and west is first high. So west, how can you memorize this? Is people from the west, they get high most of the time. And you have to know assertiveness and responsiveness. The first comes assertiveness, and the second comes responsiveness. So north is all low, south is all high, east is low first, like low assertiveness and high responsiveness. West is high assertiveness and low responsiveness. Now you can also come up with some of the things. It is up to you, but that is what Hall concluded, that there were four distinct company cultural style, and you can choose your own style, right? You can say maybe northeast style, southwest style. You can say whatever you like, and you don't have to choose assertiveness and responsiveness. You can choose attentiveness and risk management. You can choose anything. Okay. So this is just we are getting to know what Hall is saying. Okay. Now, after examining hundreds of companies, Deal and Kennedy, so these are the two writers, they wrote this in 1982. So something in bracket is the date that this artifact once again came out, right? Suggested there were four main types of company culture based on four key attributes. Okay, the first is values. Values is, so you'll be asked in exam also, what is, like in short questions, what are some of the values, what are some of the beliefs, things like that. But how culture is made, how people can can assess people's culture, organizations culture. Okay, how people can put that measuring rod on people's culture. So there are some tenets, there are some elements. Those are, most of the time, those are attitude, values, personality, beliefs. But but in addition to all this, Dill and Kennedy, they have come up with some of the things like values. So values are some shared beliefs and philosophies, right? Values, some shared beliefs and philosophies. So heroes. Now he says heroes, the individuals who are seen to personify the organization's value. For example, in mythical time, in the past time, in religious time, maybe Arjuna was hero, maybe Krishna was hero, right? Krishna, who is supposed to be as a god for most of them, he has come up with some set of values in his what is that called? In his Gita, right? He has his style. What do you do when you wake up? What do you do when you walk? These are the things. How you play with the cosmic things, and how does that macrocosmic thing relates to microcosmic things? So microcosmic would be simply planets, astrology, things like that, right? And heroes, yeah. And maybe Mark Zuckerberg can be a hero because he sets values and everything for his Facebook company. So that is heroes. Now rites and rituals, right? Everything has the way the members celebrate the beliefs, right? For example, if Halloween is believed to be celebrated in the countries other than where it is supposed to be celebrated, like most of the MNC multinational companies, they celebrate Halloween, Thanksgiving Day, right? So, and then members celebrate that. So that is rites and rituals, right? Maybe some organization, they have rituals. They have to go early in the morning and they have to offer something to deity, something to deity. Or some of the organization, they have rituals. Maybe early in the morning you go and you get a coffee, or you get a coffee and cookies. In Japanese company, you go and you get a green tea. Your day starts with a little meditation, pondering on things, and a green tea, right? So these are the things that he's saying. The other is communication network. That communication network is the informal communication channels like stories and gossip, right? Which spread the values. A communication network. How do we now see? Very interestingly, it is said here, a communication network. A communication network is when we talk to people, we just don't listen to all informative things like something happened yesterday, something happened last year. No, people come up with their folk stories and stories from immemorial time, right? For example, the story of ghost, the story of Krishna, the story of Jesus, the story of Christ, yes, and maybe Mother Mary, right? So these are by listening to this, we spread the values. In a way, after the Second World War, when most of the nations were colonized, right? We're under that process. Uh, it is said that many people they were on the mission to spread their religion and whatnot, right? So that is spreading the values. Okay, the four main types of cultures which emerged were the following. First was that's a culture. Okay, because culture within organization culture, a culture became a huge terminology, a huge umbrella heading. Therefore, they calculated that culture. They categorized that culture into four things. Let's see what they have to tell. Now, once again, you don't have to stick on this. You just say, for example, they are saying something, so you just listen to their stories, their talk. This is what they think. This is what they have made easy for us to understand organization culture. Now, if you are smart enough, you can come up with your own culture. You can criticize. You can create. You can offer your criticism on this. You can offer your assimilation on this. You can offer your literal understanding on this. Anything. It is your play now. But they say there is a tough guy and macho culture. Now, the first time we listen to any words, we have to little play with that words. Let's try to decode what tough guy is and macho culture is. Tough guy is a tough guy, right? A very persistent guy, a guy who is very hard to defeat, right? And macho culture is like a macho personality that is above masculinity, yes, that is macho culture. So in a macho culture we find individuals, for example, if there is any organization and if we find the individuals who work very fast and they take risks also and expect to receive quick feedback and awards, so that is a tough macho culture. For example, any construction industries, you can see the guy with the helmet, with a bodybuilder, the guy with the helmet is a very strong stunt man doing works, right? Constructing building. Maybe they can, who work for those kind of organization, they can be considered as tough guy and macho culture. Okay. The other is work hard, play hard culture. So in a graph, tough guy, macho culture minus something is should have, it's supposed to be work hard, play hard culture. So let's see what it is. If there is a culture which is if there are people or if any organization which is much less risky, which acts on much less risky environment where staffs are rewarded for hard work and there is an emphasis on team play and conforming to recognized producers. Maybe that is work hard, play hard culture. Try to find example. Try to use your noodle, use your brain, and try to find some examples of this. Barrier company culture. In a barrier company culture, the risks are high, but feedback may take quite a long time. Here we have large businesses that invest a lot of money in projects which take a long time to complete. Staff are valued for their commitment, technical competence, and stamina endurance. So let's see, after 9/11, when World Trade Center was a disaster, a chaos happened to World Trade Center. Let's not say who did that because I don't really know that. So in that case, right now the project is being built, and the project is for 15 years, right? So this can be barrier company culture. Or maybe, the movie that, there was a movie, Titanic. After Titanic movie, James Cameron took 10 years to come up with the other movie, that is Avatar. So maybe that Avatar can be tagged under this culture, barrier company culture. Because we have clue here. The clue is, in a barrier company culture, the risks are high, but feedback may take quite a long time. So, large businesses that invest a lot of money in projects which take a long time to complete. So, from this line, we can easily recall these two examples of World Trade Center and the James Cameron movie project. Right. The other is process culture. If an organization is exposed to low risk and receives slow feedback, it may embrace a process culture in which there is a strong emphasis on how things are done, getting the procedures right and attending to the detail. Okay, so it's a process culture, right? Let's say So it is, for example, if you're opening some outlet, some franchise of any restaurant, then you can say it's a process culture. It has a very low risk, right? Right, and receives a very slow feedback because people are accustomed to this culture, this fast food culture. They go to Hong Kong, they get same burger in a way, maybe a little slight modification. They go to Middle East, they get same burger. That being said, McDonald's is there all over the world. KFC is all over the world. So that might be a process culture. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. कति भयो हिजो आई